Halle Berry is known for many things. She was a 90s icon, a superhero, femme fatale, and Bond girl. She gave a memorable acceptance speech at the 2002 Oscars. She's one of the rare instances in Hollywood where she wasn't confined to a single genre. She's done comedy, drama, action, and horror. But it all seemed to crumble down when she stepped into a two-piece catsuit. In 2004, Catwoman was regarded as one of the most hated films of the year, or even the decade. It was seen as a cinematic disgrace. People who have never seen this movie might instantly think of the critical backlash. But why this movie? I can't remember exactly when I first saw Halle Berry as Catwoman. Maybe it was a trailer or a clip, but I thought she looked so cool and had a magnetic energy perfectly fit for a summer blockbuster. This is a sleek, stylish film about a cat superhero. What's wrong with that? Apparently a lot, and Halle Berry herself faced the brunt of the criticism. But my hot take, this movie and her performance was greatly misunderstood. There are hidden strengths here, and it needs to be acknowledged. Maybe Catwoman isn't the hairball of superhero movies. We're going to look into how Catwoman still has a few lives left. So now, let's get started. A while ago, I talked about Catwoman, back when I was rocking Sarah Miller core, and I still defend this movie. It was misunderstood. When it came out, I suppose audiences didn't expect to see something so melodramatic and had no shame around that. But it seems to be a pattern in belated appreciation for campy media. Not just in a it's so bad it's good way, but genuinely admiring an artistic style built on excess, theatricality, and style. Over-the-top films that have been branded as worst films of the year upon their release often had a strong creative vision behind them. Catwoman wasn't interested in being another straightforward comic book action film. It chased a completely different aesthetic. So how did it end up looking like this? A Catwoman movie was stuck in development hell since the release of Batman Returns. It never was a priority project. Tim Burton lost interest, and so did Michelle Pfeiffer. Warner Brothers canceled a planned Batman vs. Superman film that was supposed to be the 2004 release, so they checked the back burner and found a new project. Because of rights issues, the movie couldn't be about the character of Selina Kyle. Instead, the writers had to create an entirely new Catwoman from scratch. The only rule was that they couldn't mention Batman. Otherwise, they could do whatever they liked. The writers conceived a Jekyll and Hyde-esque mind-split theme. Teresa Rebeck, who previously wrote Harriet the Spy, thought of a feminist-inspired origin story. Knowing this movie needed a big-name star, Halle Berry was approached. She was on an incredible run. She starred in a string of box office hits and won an Oscar. In my opinion, she's one of those performers who's at their best when they're encouraged to not hold back. And this role required extensive training. She worked with a choreographer to perfect cat-like movement, learned the martial art capoeira, took whip lessons, and even studied an actual cat. They gave me a cat early on because I didn't have one. His name was Play-Doh. I watched, studied, and learned how cats think. I'd crawl around my house, trying to jump on my counters, thinking, if I were a cat, how would I get up there? Inspired by the aesthetic of Blade, Catwoman leaned into sleek, stylish glam. Some shots looked like they could be in a magazine editorial. Her famous, or infamous costume was made from a decision to look different from the typical catsuits. We thought it'd be cool to be more rock and roll and bare. Halle Berry was famous for wearing a bikini in her Bond movie, and we were like, why not? Matching the aesthetics, the writing isn't subtle. There's plenty of cat puns. Her bosses talk like fanfic villains, and there's a romantic subplot for a cute factor. Not to mention that feline motifs were just popular at the time. Josie and the Pussycats, the Cheetah Girls, Bratz cats, Catwoman fit right in. The movie was released in summer 2004, directly competing with the critically acclaimed Spider-Man 2. With a budget of $100 million, it earned back $82 million. That is very bad, but the critical reception was abysmal. Some of the rave reviews include, this is only worth seeing if you can handle the shallow characters and dull plastic action scenes for the sake of unintentional laughs. Touches on feminist ideals that are all but contradicted by a pair of skimpy leather pants. Yes, because superheroes famously dressed modest and demure. It was regarded as the worst film of 2004, and according to the Orlando Sentinel, arguably the worst superhero film ever made. The cat mythology, Spearsian outfit, music video style editing, and soapy dialogue became frequent targets of criticism. But sometimes they were just looking for reasons to dislike it. Roger Ebert said, The movie makes it clear when they make love at least once, but we don't see that happening because Catwoman, a film that was born to be rated R, has been squeezed into the PG-13 category. So they should have shown that scene. What would that add? Catwoman won Worst Picture at the 2005 Razzies, and Halle Berry became the face of the film's failure. She was one of the rare examples of accepting her Worst Actress Razzie Award, parroting her Oscar speech. "I was at the top, and Catwoman just plummeted me to the bottom. Love it." Unfortunately, Hollywood believed it. The rare instances where she was a leading lady was other campy but critically panned dramas, Jodie Foster-esque Mother and Jeopardy thrillers, or borderline B-movies. In response to the Catwoman backlash, "I hated that it got all put on me, and I hate that to this day, it's my failure. But she didn't take the Razzies seriously. You can never take away my Oscar, no matter how bad you bash me." So what exactly is wrong with this movie? Let's forget all its infamy, the worst superhero movie label. What is Catwoman from a fresh perspective? Patience Phillips represents the worst of people-pleasing. She's afraid of being misunderstood, constantly apologizes, and doesn't stand up for herself, including when her boss insults her clothes. She's rocking Global Village Coffee House. Hater. She speaks like a mouse when trying to stop her annoying party animal neighbors. She describes her own life and personhood as unremarkable. Patience started off being as far from a cat as possible, but that's all until she changes. Cats don't look for approval. They tend to not be naturally very friendly, because they are more so looking for others to impress them, not the other way around. And yet for centuries, they've been worshipped. This scene is especially infamous, but it's rather hauntingly beautiful. Patience was gone. It seemed that she was defeated by evil. But instead, the cats knew her potential. Midnight chose her. It's some sort of feline destiny, the breath of life. And getting some cat superpowers is nice too. Aside from fun stuff like sleeping on shelves and perfect landings, she's no longer afraid to be a little catty. She gets a makeover because she refuses to hide behind anything, decides that no one can steal from a jewelry store but her. After doing a catwalk, she goes to a bar and orders milk. She really likes sushi, and her whip changes a scene. I don't understand how people hated this movie. All of this is great. I guess the general public wanted a movie equivalent to Sgt. Pepper Lonely Hearts Club, but you have to watch this movie like how you're listening to Brat, a loud, stylish pop art. Plus, the soundtrack is a beauty. Scandalous by Mystique is crazy. I prefer this basketball scene over High School Musical. I'm not sure if the Razzies Worst Actress Award is given to least effort or just means I didn't like this movie. It's an action, comedy-ish popcorn movie. The goal of an actor here is energy and presence, the ability to sell a heightened world. Was Halle Berry theatrical? Absolutely. Cats are dramatic. They're vain, playful, unpredictable. A performance like this shouldn't be understated. I think Berry took a lot of inspiration from Eartha Kitt as Catwoman. It matches the over-the-top tone. A big part of acting is knowing what movie you're in, and I believe how she changed. At the beginning, Patience was a woman scared to take up space. By the end, she became someone vivacious and witty, fully comfortable with herself. Carmen Bicandova, who played Selena Kyle in the Gotham series, put it well. Halle exudes femininity through her strength and class. She carries curiosity and perseverance in her eyes. She's one who takes her job seriously and does it well, but more importantly, she broke down doors so others can walk through them, and did that with style and grace. To me, that's what made her perfect to play Catwoman. The central conflict is defeating an evil skincare company. It's not exactly a fate of the world situation. Even Halle Berry felt it seemed a bit soft, but it rings something true. The beauty industry specifically preys on women's insecurities, and the beauty culture of the early 2000s was created as an image of addiction and achieving airbrushed perfection, sometimes to women's detriment. Countless fad diets were marketed towards women, many of them ineffective at best and genuinely dangerous at worst.
Eat all you want and still lose weight. That's right. Eat all you want and still lose weight. And we couldn't say it on TV if it wasn't true.
So it's not too absurd to have a villain duo that evil laughs together. Sharon Stone also received criticism for her performance. But again, she's doing exactly what the movie needs. Her character Laurel's gripe seems less on Catwoman and more to get back at her disrespectful husband. She uses this toxic cream herself, turning her face into marble, possibly a take on Medusa. Her product is dangerous, but she's a target of the system as well. But she's still not a she-did-nothing-wrong type of villain either. Her actions were irredeemable, specifically with her framing Catwoman for the crime that she did. But she and Catwoman made fantastic foils. They're both theatrical and command attention. The difference is where that confidence comes from. Patience had to learn to stop apologizing for existing. Laurel projects absolute control because she's terrified of losing it. This is a very specific reference, but Catwoman is probably the closest thing we have to a live-action Bratz movie. Not that one, but the CGI animated ones. Something crazy happens every 5 seconds. The characters speak in catchphrases. You have no clue what's going to happen next. There's non-stop movement on screen. Nothing ever sits still. But it's just something you can't look away from. There's an infectious confidence in both of these mediums. Catwoman doesn't apologize for what it is. It commits to the glamour and fantasy, which I think is this film's greatest strength. The very thing that many fans and critics got at is exactly what made it memorable. And it's a shame that what was credited for messing up Halle Berry's career turned out to be one of her more beloved roles, amongst some spaces. Maybe Catwoman was a little ahead of its time. Not because audiences suddenly decided it was a flawless movie, but because they finally understood what it was trying to be. Some viewers liked the glossy early 2000s aesthetic and the magazine-style glam. Current audiences have a more open desire for theatricality, and it's why Catwoman keeps finding new fans. Not because people are watching it on bad movie nights or like it ironically, but because it's fun. Today, Halle Berry seems genuinely proud to be one of the Catwomen, noting that Patience Phillips will always have a special place in her heart. And still, meow. The Ballad of Patience Phillips isn't the most groundbreaking superhero origin ever written, but it's effective. What was her lowest point changed her to become someone she never knew she could be, a mythos of becoming the best version of yourself. For a movie that was critically panned, it stood strong. The people who connected with it really connect with it. Aside from all the leather, whip cracks, and dramatic posing, there is sincerity. You've spent a lifetime caged. By accepting who you are, all of who you are, you can be free. And that's all I have for why I think Catwoman is great. Thank you all for watching, and hope to see you all in the next one.